So today the USFL unveils its unique format for the inaugural player draft happening February 22nd and 23rd. Time will start at 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern is when they should have everything wrapped up. Of course, if you followed the XFL News Hub yesterday, you found out that the first round draft was picked on Fox Sports. The draft order is the Michigan Panthers, Tampa Bay Bandits second, my team, Philadelphia Stars, New Jersey Generals with the fourth pick, Houston Gamblers, Stallions 6, Maulers 7, and Nolans Breakers are at 8. So Birmingham will host this historic two-day event. Of course, I said on February 22nd and 23rd, the new United States Football League today unveils the details of its 35-round inaugural player draft. This historic two-day event will take place February 22nd, 23rd in Birmingham, home of the regular season games in 2022. Quote, "We're looking forward to conducting our inaugural USFL draft and selecting the league's first 280 players over 2 days," said Brian Woods, USFL President, Football Operations. For the 2022 season, we're using an analytic modified snake system that's equitable for all our teams during our first ever draft. Our teams will have needs at every position, so we will choose a unique format that made our teams focus on evaluating and drafting key positions first. So officially known as the player selection meeting, day one of the inaugural USFL draft will be Tuesday, February 22nd at 6 p.m. Central Time, which is 7 p.m. Eastern, all the way till 10 o'clock Eastern. It will consist of 12 rounds and will distinctively progress by position, beginning with quarterback round 1. So we will know the quarterbacks for the USFL at around 7 p.m. who will be the big name quarterbacks in the USFL. Followed by edge rusher, defensive end for rounds 2 through 4, offensive tackle 5 through 7, cornerbacks 8 through 11, and back to quarterbacks in round 12. Teams will have 2 minutes per selection for day one. For the first time in any major sports draft, the selection order will use an analytical modified snake system between position rounds so that each team has 2 number 1 picks at 2 positions. I think this is something similar the XFL did. Now, of course, yesterday the USFL Draft Lottery draw was conducted live nationally on FS1 during Speak for Yourself by co-hosts Marcellus Wiley and Emmanuel Echo. This resulted in each team being assigned a selection number 1 through 8 for each round. The Michigan Panthers will make their first ever draft pick in the new USFL. The following inaugural player draft order illustrates how the specific team's draft positions for 280 picks in 35 rounds used an analytic modified snake. We've talked about that for fairness. There are 3 highlighted rounds to demonstrate how this unique format will work. So round 1, you have what we had talked about. And then you have round 2. The Breakers will have the first pick with Pittsburgh second and so on. That's kind of how the format goes. Day 2 of the USFL draft will start at 9 a.m. Central Time. So I believe that would be 10 a.m. on Wednesday, February 23rd, and will proceed until 35 rounds are complete. During the rounds 13 through 23, teams will have 90 seconds to execute a pick, and the position order will be wide receiver. That's going to be a good one for Wednesday. Safety, center, inside linebacker, and guard. The selection time will be 1 minute for rounds 23 through 35, and the position order will be defensive tackle, nose, running back, fullback. Wow, that's really late in the game. Outside linebacker, kicker, and punter. Tight end and H-back in round 35, and long snapper round 34. Long snapper round 35. Teams are required to draft at least 1 player from each position group. Should a team let its time expire in any round without a selection, it can still choose a player, but it risks letting the team on the clock take the player it was considering. So don't be late. I've been to fantasy football drafts and people sit there and take forever. Just make a pick and move on. Trades between teams to achieve a different selection order or acquire a player or players will not be permitted, so there's no trading picks. However, a team may elect to pass during any round in exchange for a compensatory pick that may be used at the conclusion of the different position round. If more than one team utilizes a compensatory pick, it will be given in a given round. The draft order within that position round will determine the order for the compensatory selections. USFL teams are drafting from a pool of 450 to 500 players. We've heard that the pool was 3,000 plus. They whittled it down to 500. So when you see these guys on Twitter saying I'm going to be in the USFL draft, you signed up. You might not be part of that 500 players. And these are who have already signed contracts to play in the league. Only players who have signed contracts are eligible for selection. Again, I think they might have had all 3,000 sign a contract, but who knows? The USFL will also conduct a 10-round supplemental draft on March 10th to select 80 more players. This gives potential players more time to opt in with a signed contract. Teams will have 2 minutes between selections during the supplemental draft, and teams may select any position group. At the conclusion of the supplemental draft, each team will have 45 players for a league total of 360 players. Once the season begins on April 16th, each team's active roster will have 38 players plus a 7-man practice squad. Closed to the general public, the USFL will provide real-time coverage of the 2022 player draft, including selection, reporting features, and behind-the-scenes content through its league team and social channels. So you want to check out that. Plus, hang out with XFL News Hub, as we will have coverage of all of the USFL drafts picks from day 1 and from day 2. Make sure you smash and like and subscribe to this channel so you can get all the USFL information. And of course, spread the word to football fans that, hey, there is more football after the NFL season is over. So smash that like button and subscribe.